Hi, welcome to Fiberchats. My name is Irina, I'm the host here, and my guest today is Frédéric from France. Well, now in Italy. You are in Italy this year, right? So I stumbled on your account on Instagram, and what caught my attention was all the places that you travel and you show your knitting in like all over the place. So I think like one of the pictures I remember was you in Florence, like next to Duomo and next to the famous bridge there in Florence. So every place you go, you bring your knitting with you. How did you start knitting? When did you start knitting?
Hi, Irina. I'm really glad to do this with you. Actually, I started knitting because I just wanted something to occupy my brain. Actually, I just went out of a hectic relationship, and I wanted to think about something else. And as it turns out, my ex-girlfriend, she was knitting, but I mean, she was really knitting. Me, I'm only doing a garter stitch, you know. So I wouldn't call myself a knitter, but so I just wanted to do something mechanic, not thinking about it, like chewing a gum. And I mean, I kind of enjoyed going around. Every time I don't use my hands, I can knit. So I'm doing this everywhere. And since I more of the contemplative type, I'm more I like to watch things and stay a bit behind. I love to actually take pictures of my knitting with those beautiful landscapes that I'm actually seeking in travel.
Well, is there like a place you don't knit? Like, is it like every place you go, your knitting comes with you, or do you ever not knit?
Okay, it's a funny question. There are different places where I don't knit. Okay, so when I'm working, actually,
Right.
when I'm working, I need my hands because I most of the time I work on the computer, so I cannot knit and work in the same time. If I could, I would, but I can't. When I'm sleeping, I'm not knitting as well. And when, because I still can't master this, but I'm sure that one day I will be able to fall asleep knitting. And the last place where I don't knit is actually when it bothers people. For example, I can knit in theater, I can knit in a cinema, for example, but sometimes the little click of the needles is too much for the people around to handle, so I stop the knitting. Anywhere else, I'm actually knitting.
I mean, so like most of the projects that you knit, you sell them, right?
Yeah, it depends. So what I do is really simple. Okay, all the patterns that I design are actually made for me not to think about it. So I shouldn't have a count in my head. So most of the things I need, the hats or this shirt or anything, it's made of mostly rectangles, maybe with diminutions at the ends, but mostly rectangles. So I don't have to think about it. Um, the point now. What I can do with my knitting is knitting everywhere, every time, without thinking about it. So of course I wouldn't make this a business because it takes too long to sell, and nobody wants to buy hats for 60 or 70 euros. It makes no sense. So I'm actually selling when I can. I'm selling those hats or those knits that I do. I'm selling them for the price of the wool or the cotton plus a little 5 euros or something, just to cover my expenses. And when I'm done after each season, because since I'm always knitting, I just accumulate a lot, a lot of hats and everything. So at the end of the seasons, I give all the extra hats to the families in needs or to associations or things like this.
Right. I mean, when you knit, is it like a meditative place for you? Like, are you thinking about knitting, or are you thinking about anything else in the world?
I guess this changed over time. At first, I was really knitting to get my mind off of other things. So I was concentrated on the knitting. Plus, it would help me because I was a beginner. Now that I knit without thinking about it, I guess it's more a meditative thing. It helps me focus for when I watch a movie, when I'm dancing in the techno party, or when I knit, it helps me focus on something else. But it's true that it can as well become an addiction. So the limit between enjoying and wanting and needing to knit is very thin, you know. At some point, okay, there are worse addictions in the world than addiction to knitting. Okay, that's for sure. And I can lie and say to you, okay, I began to knit to stop smoking or things like that, which is true as well, but it didn't work. But at least I smoke less now. But it never, I mean, it happened only very few times where I really needed to knit, actually. I don't need to, I could stop any, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's what yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what an addict would say. I can stop knitting anytime, but I feel good when I knit. I just don't think about it right now. So I guess, yeah, I guess it's some kind of meditative place, but it's the same for me. I thinking as the same as chewing a gum, you know. It's just something mechanic that occupies a part of your mind, and is good for me. But I made it this way since I'm only knitting very simple things with a garter stitch. Is always the same gesture. It's more mechanic than actually wanting to make something beautiful out of it, you know.
I mean, is that your vision for yourself forever? Like, do you see yourself 30 years from now knitting garter stitch hats? Or do you think like at some point you want to challenge yourself and see like how far you can take it?
Excellent question. Right now, I'm still evolving. So I'm making shirts, I'm making dresses. But the point is to keep the garter stitch, to keep, I still have the same needles, the same size. I'm knitting with the size 7 needles always now. So I want to keep this kind of industrial way of knitting, always the same gesture, always the same stitch. And then I'm making the patterns myself to fit this this design, you know, this very square type of knitting, you know. So
Right.
yes, of course, maybe in 30 years from now, of course, I will still do garter stitch hats because I find them aesthetic. I find them beautiful. That's what I like to do. But more and more friends of mine ask me for shirts, ask me for sweaters and things like this. So by nature, I'm diversifying, but it's not because I'm bored. It's because I want to please people now.
Right. Is there somebody who you got disappointed from, like knitting for somebody and they would not appreciate the gift that you gave them?
Yes, but it's my own fault. Okay, the last jumper that I did, okay, the last sweater that I did, it was like turtleneck sweater, very long with big sleeves and more narrow on the wrist. Okay, for me, I mean, I spent 2 months, almost 2 months knitting this, which is enormous for me. It was the longest project that I did. And I offered, okay, it's for my friend Louis. He's the guy that is taking the photographs for the shootings that I do. He's an architect, and I offered him this sweater 1 month ago, and it was the day that he decided to tell every one of us that he was going to Nigeria to work as an emergency architect for 1 year. So of course, I mean, it's 39 degrees Celsius there, so he wouldn't need a jumper. Right. So yeah, he was a bit disappointed, but I mean, it was only my fault, you know.
Right. Well, hopefully when he comes back, he's gonna get somewhere out of it.
Yeah.
How did you, like, do you see yourself as a fiber artist? Because this is not your full-time job. Like, you have a actual full-time job and this is still a hobby, right? Do you see yourself as a fiber artist? Like, when you tell people about yourself, do you tell them that I work in the food safety industry, or do you tell them that you're a knitter?
It depends who's asking. Okay, if it's a casual encounter in a night out or anything, and they ask me, "What are you doing here?" I mostly tell them about my day job. but if someone's asking, what do you like to do? What motivates you? What drives you in life? Then I can talk about everything other than my job. I don't say that I don't like my job. It's just that for me and the way that I look at it is how do you say, is a job just to earn money, you know. And this money I can invest in the things that I like. So I like to do skateboard, and the benefit doing skateboard is that I can knit in the same time as well. I like to knit. I like to go out, to watch movies, to go to theater. I like to play football as well, but I don't knit because it's too dangerous.
Right.
When I play football knitting, I tried it, but man, kids do not try this at home. No, actually, yeah. I never said that I'm a knitter, because for me, a knitter is someone that wants to make beautiful things knitting, and that's not the way that I see it. I'm more of a compulsive, meditative knitter than an artist in my sense, you know.
Right. Well, I
Um,
disagree. I think you're an artist, actually. I think it's just, you're going to discover it in time, because when I see your pictures, it's like I'm seeing specific artistic style. I don't see just the simple hat. Like you add details to it, or the way you style, or the way you photograph it. You have a artistic vision to yourself.
Thank you.
Well, let's talk about like your childhood. So your family were actually like knitters also, right? You grew up surrounded by knitters.
My two grandmothers, okay, from my father's side, they are Egyptians, and from my mother's side, they are French. And my two grandmothers, they used to knit, but at this point, okay, I lost all my grandparents when I was around 13. So at this point, I was really not into this. It's not that I found it has been or fast, but actually I just didn't care for knitting. For me, it was really like the stereotype. It was really a grandmother thing when I was 6 to 12 or things like this. I really didn't care. But maybe you're right. Maybe like unconsciously, I was still surrounded by um, tons of wools everywhere, fibers that stay in the couch, and you have it on your garments when you get up. Yeah, maybe unconsciously there was this knitting around. But when you ask, so I asked my mother and I asked my father, what do they think about me knitting? And they think it was, I mean, it was for them, it was something that the old people did, you know. For them, it was not fashionable at all, you know.
I
So
mean,
maybe
do you find it that like when you knit outside, because you knit out all the time, so like all the people that see you, they'll see you knit. Do you ever get negative reaction? Do you ever get people tell you this is for grandmas, or do people think it's cool?
most of them think it's cool to see a young. Okay, you have like three levels of this. The grandmothers and the grandfathers that see me knitting, they say, "Oh, it's so nice to watch young people do something out of their hands, which is not typing on a smartphone. Actually, it's like their version of it." And when I meet people my age, they tell me it's interesting. They don't find it that cool, but they find it okay. It's a bit weird. It's a bit original, which I like actually. I'm not looking for compliments. I mean, I'm knitting for myself,
Right.
and that's it. But I really enjoy when old people say, old people or middle age or even my age say, I find it weird that you're a male knitter. For me, it's really something that is not gendered at all. I mean, everyone can see colors and want to make fabric out of a thread. So for me, it's really something that is not gendered. So I find it weird when someone is more surprised by a male knitter than by a young knitter, you know.
Right. is there, like, because you travel between the countries, do you find there is a difference in perception, like between France and Italy, how people react to your knitting?
Yeah, this for sure. I mean, I live in Paris, so okay, compared to smaller cities in France, overall, it's true that you will find more open-minded people in Paris. I mean, you can find them everywhere in France, but in proportion, it's true that you find more open-minded people in Paris. So people are actually less closed-minded, less
Mental.
yeah, they don't feel that I'm weird. Okay, but here in the south of Italy, which are still more traditional, it's true that it's yeah, people are more surprised to see a young guy knitting in the street. But hey, I mean, me, I don't feel offended at all. You know, it's normal. Plus here, it's always sunny, it's always hot, so knitting is really not their favorite hobby. You know.
Well,
So
let's talk about that. So half of the pictures you post is like you basically in some state of undress, and the girls that model for you as well. Like you know, there is usually like a lot of bare skin with the knitted head. Why did you decide to go that way? Like, what's the idea behind it?
for several reasons. The first shooting that we did it in summer. We did it in the Parisian apartment of one of my friends. And two of my friends, they were smoking outside on the balcony, and since there was sun, there was already like half naked, you know. And one of them put on a hat, and I thought, okay, I mean, since I'm only doing hats, I think it looks cool not to have anything else, you know. I want to display the hat and only the hat. So then I started to say, okay, to all my models, which are actually my friends, I want you half naked, and that's it. And there is no discussion, no way to get around this. So for the girls, of course, they wear like a bra, but without the stripes there. But yeah, I want on the frame, I want nothing else than the hat. Yeah, it's true.
I mean, what was the reaction to those pictures? Like, do people question you about that?
Yeah, they thought that I was a guru. They thought that I was playing mind games with everyone just to get them naked, and actually the knitting was just a cover. But no, but they understand me. Okay, I've always liked being the weird kid in the group. So I mean, they knew what to expect with me. So no, they don't find weird. They find it actually funny, you know.
How do you decide like on what you're gonna post next? Because a lot of those pictures, like it's about architecture of the place you visit. Some of it is about nature. Some of it is more concentrated on the actual knitting. Like, how do you decide on your next photo shoot?
Okay, for my it's very simple for the editing line of the Instagram account. When I go around knitting, every time that I find something for me that is very beautiful or breathtaking, and it can be a beautiful landscape, but it can be something. It can be me drinking with buddies, and I want to remember this moment. It can be something very dark, like I'm in theater, I'm watching a ballet in Paris, and I find this moment meaningful. So actually, so it's a bit therapeutic as well for me, maybe to fix this moment in time. I take a photo with the knitting. Of course, a lot of them are beautiful landscapes because I like to be outside and I like to watch. Because I'm living in a city since I was born. I'm living in a closed environment where you have buildings all around. So every time I'm faced with a lot of space around me, I find it beautiful. So of course, the sea, the mountains, the forest, the campaign, anything. When I find something that really think makes sense to take a picture without the knitting, then I take the picture. But I focus. So I do the focus with the iPhone. So I'm taking all the pictures with the iPhone. I do the focus on the knitting. So the rest of the landscape is a bit blurred. And that's how actually I take all my photos. So mostly I'm like 3 weeks or 1 month late when I post something. It's a photo that I took 1 month ago, approximately. And
Do you
plus,
consider like Instagram to be almost like your knitting diary? Like, is
yeah,
that how you
totally.
treat it?
Totally. I don't use it Instagram. Okay, in the sense, the pure sense of Instagram, it's supposed to be instantaneous, and I'm really not using this like this.
Right.
I'm more of a late Instagram kind of person, actually. Yeah, it's exactly this. I keep it as a diary, maybe later, if I stop this or if I want to show this to the children that maybe I will have, at least they will follow like this kind of chronologic line, and I like it this way.
Right. Is there like a dream place that you would like to knit at?
Okay, so there are several of them, but maybe some that would be the more meaningful. I've always wanted to go and see the how do you call it, the shepherd in Iceland, those that are actually driving a lot of sheep around. Okay, so you have those naked cold stone landscapes with those little white and gray sheep moving around. So that would be for me, because you have all this culture in Iceland with taking care of the sheep to get the best wool possible. So for me, it would be one of the coolest places to actually take a knitting picture there. But I have several others like this. Most of them are actually linked with the wool or the fiber or the metal of the needles as well. So you have as well industrial places like in Le Havre in France, where you have all those crossing metal bars like this. And I think as well that's one place that I want to go to take a beautiful knitting picture. So it's okay, maybe those places that I think about when you ask me those questions, what would do for me the best picture, artistically speaking. And maybe if I think about more about the question that you asked me, I could find more meaningful places for me to take them, of course, in meaningful moments of my life. Like, I don't know, like when some close friends would pass out, or when my parents would die one day, or of course there would be more meaningful moments in my life where of course I will take a knitting picture just to encrypt this moment in time. But when you ask me the question, for me it's really the artistic point of view still that is more present in my mind. Yeah.
See, I told you you were an artist. You didn't believe me.
Yeah, but not with the knitting. For the visual art, that's for sure. I like beautiful things, and I like to share beautiful things with others, because I know that everywhere around the world there will necessarily be some people that have the same taste as I do. So I'd like to have this artistic liking community around me. That's for sure. But for the knitting part itself, I really don't consider myself as an artist.
Well, let's talk about wool, since you brought up the whole quality of wool in Iceland and all that. How do you approach materials? Like, how do you choose the materials for the items that you need?
Okay, so you have two ways to go about this for me. It depends. If I have an order, someone wants really a cashmere hat, or someone wants a Merinos wool jumper, for example, then I will look for the fabric and the color and the color matches, and then I would propose to this person, okay, I think that I found at my local wool seller those two colors or those three colors that I think would be perfect, and plus when I feel the Merinos is really good quality, so I propose this to my friends. And if I'm only doing this for me, then it's really random. I can go in a place and find something because okay, I'm in this weird mood right now. I'm feeling a kind of blue, kind of and I stumble across a particular ball of wool or cotton that is really the shade that I feel I would like to knit. So I'm going to buy this. So like almost all knitters in the world, I have tons of wool at home that I will never use. I mean, like you, like behind you.
I'm planning to use all of that. Just give me
Yeah,
time.
sure. Yeah, sure.
Um, well, is there like any color that like are you when you mentioned that like when you're in certain mood, like something attracts you, like is there a certain color that would always lift your spirits?
Yeah, yeah. It's a kind of blue. Okay, now my room is you have orange light, so it won't show very good. But maybe I could send you a picture of one hat
Sure.
that I did. It's maybe it's my favorite color. Is the color of the police cars here in Bari, in the south of Italia. It's a kind of a light blue, but with a touch of purple in it. Okay, I will send you a hat with this. And weirdly enough, in the house of my grandmother from my mother's side, the French part of the family, I found a big trunk. So I looked inside, and there was tons of wool, and there was this Angora wool, exactly this color. And my grandmother left 3 or 4 balls of this wool, and then I immediately I put all the 4 strings together, and I did a hat with this. I will send you the picture of the. Okay, so this color for me is a safe one, something that makes me feel safe, that I would love, I think, all of my life. And apart from this color, it's really the associations of color that I liked, and this really changes over time. The different people that I meet. Right now, it's been like 3 years that that my girlfriend really likes what I do. And she's an architect, so she's more the artistic part of the of the couple, and she's really into design, and she likes to wear green, like dark green and black. And apart from this, there are very few colors that she likes to wear. So maybe my tastes are more drawn to different shades of black, different shades of green right now, but I know this will change over time.
How did COVID affect your life and your knitting and your travels and all of that? Like, what was happening during COVID times?
Okay, so the first year of COVID, oh man, what a period. The first year of COVID, so it started in March in France, the first lockdown. So I started by doing those masks,
Masks.
knitted masks, yeah, just to see if I actually if I could do it, but I wouldn't sell them because it's not comfortable, like to have this wool just close to your nose and mouth. Is really like too hot. Plus, it was weirdly a very hot spring and summer in France this year, so no one would would wear this. Okay, me, I really don't like to play by the rules. So the lockdown, every day at 6 p.m. I would go out my house just to play football with a little ball at the top of the park, which was close to the home that I live, just to breathe a bit. So I would go there. I would take my ball. I would play for half an hour, and then when I was feeling a bit tired, I would sit, just enjoying the rest of the sun of the day and knitting, because it's the top of the park and it's one of the little mountains inside Paris, Parc de Belleville. At this top, you can just sit and enjoy having all Paris. You are a bit over Paris, so you can stay there and just chill. And so I would actually say that the first lockdown I really enjoyed, actually, because I was free, because I could actually adapt my working hours as well. I could work by night if I wanted to. So as long as my job was done, I'm very lucky, because I have one of those jobs that I can do from anywhere
Right.
and anytime. So I could adapt my schedule and just enjoy all the daylight and the sun. I would stay at my window, maybe put a fat boy really like on the window, and stay knitting here under the sun all day, and then I would work at night. So actually, it didn't hurt my knitting at all. Maybe it was more difficult just to go and buy some wools, because all the shops were closed, so I had to order them on the internet. But apart from this, I didn't knit more because I was inside, but I didn't knit less either. I actually enjoyed the first confinement, like the first lockdown. But those after, yeah, maybe there was one lockdown where the only thing that I did was watching a series, playing video games, and really not knitting. I don't know why. And with the COVID, when I had COVID as well, last Christmas, from the Christmas to 2 weeks later, then I did only knitting. So I almost did this jumper from my friend that I talked about. I did all the front parts and the back parts in like 2 weeks, which is I knitted for 7 hours a day, something like this thing.
Well, how much do you usually need? Like on an average day when nothing's happening, like out, like you just work and you have some free time, how much on average would you need every day?
If I average it on the week, I'd say it's about 1.5 hours a day, maybe 2 hours a day, maybe. But it's not active knitting, because I'm knitting while I'm doing something else. But on the weekends, for example, when we go for a hike or we go to techno party on the Friday night, then that would be more, because I can knit for 4 to 5 hours only in the night, but in the week, sometimes it happens that at night I'm just knitting with the book just before I fell asleep. When I read a book in my bed, I have like 15 minutes and then I sleep. It's like an easy way to sleep for me. So I could knit reading a book some nights, and I only knit for 15 minutes, and then I'm out. So I'd say, yeah, on a week it's about maybe 2 hours a day, a bit less.
How do you see, like, where do you see that business going? Like, do you think at some point it's gonna, like, you're gonna invest into the marketing of it? You're gonna figure out the algorithm of Instagram, or do you think it's gonna continue to be just?
No, yeah, I really don't. Actually, I don't think of it as a business, because I mean, if I wanted to make it a business, I should raise the prices. No one is ready to pay I don't know, 45 or 50 euros for a garter stitch hat. So if I really wanted to make a life out of it, I would have to knit more sophisticated things, and I would have this pressure as well to knit efficiently, and maybe knit some things that I wouldn't knit for myself. So as long as it stays a hobby, I like to do this. If I think about it going into business, I'm sure, I mean, that's the way that I work, actually. I'm sure that I won't enjoy it anymore. So for me, it's a no-brainer. It's not even a question that I ask myself. I'm not even looking for more followers, on Instagram, because that's not the point. Like you said, Instagram for me is just a place to record all my memories and the good times that I had. It's really not a place for advertisement. And even let's think about if I wanted to have more followers and more engagement on my Instagram account, what's the point? I couldn't anyway. I couldn't knit for everyone around. Like it takes too long for me. So for me, like I really don't think of it like something that I should expand.
Right.
Um,
Well,
if I get more,
when you think about your life, right? How many of your friends you've met because the conversation started about what is it that you're making?
most of my friends that I have right now, I knew them before I started knitting. But I'd say there is at least 5 good friends, male or female, that I still have right now that started with this conversation on the couch in a friend's place. Oh, what are you knitting? And then I would explain them that I really don't know. It's supposed to be a hat at the end, but I'm really not making a hat. I'm just knitting to knit. And yeah, it's true. Yeah, I'd say about all of my friends now, the one that I keep closer. Uh, yeah, 5 of them I met 4 or 5 years ago now when they saw me knitting, but they saw me knitting in the beginning when I was still making errors and I was still not sure about the fabric that I would take and yeah, but right now I think most of them are actually worried that I'm still doing hats and not moving on.
Well, I mean, like when you look at stuff that you make, are you very critical of it? Because like you're saying how you knit in the dark, you knit while reading book, you knit in any like hiking and whatever, right? When you look at the finished product, like because you're selling it actually, like are you critical of the quality of it?
Since I'm doing very simple garter stitch pattern, I'm not making errors anymore. So so of course you had my friends that followed me from the beginning when the first hat that I made. Of course they were a bit shady. They were a bit sketchy. I tried to hide some things under the turnip or something like this. But right now I don't make errors anymore anywhere because I could knit with the garter stitch is really mechanical. So I could knit with closed eyes, and only by sensing the tension on the thread, I know if I made a mistake or not. So so right now I'm not making any error, even if I'm a techno party and I'm a bit drunk or anything. It's really mechanic, so there is no error anymore in the hats that I do right now. But the friends that I had in the beginning, they have some hats that I made 4 years ago. Now they're a bit jealous because because the hats that I do now are way more finished in a sense than the ones they had in the beginning. But still, it's really not. It's really the most simple things that you can do. I'm still at the beginner stitch. It's just that I want to stay here. I don't want to. I mean, I could do jersey. I could do rice point. I could do those points because I did it at least once just to try it.
Right.
But the point is just to I mean to have something in my hands, not having to count anything. So I'm doing garter stitch, and that's what I like, you know.
Well, can you imagine your life without knitting?
Yeah, but I would have to find something else. I could. Okay, I would imagine if I don't know if I broke both my hands, you know, what would I do to still occupy this part of my mind when I feel the want to? I would have to find something else. I don't know what it could be. Maybe I would go back smoking. I don't know, but
Well, it might be
it's
hard
true.
without two hands.
Yeah, I smoke like this. No, it's true that he had taken a room in my habits that would need to be filled if I didn't have the knitting. For example, I'm a very vivid dreamer, so I remember almost all of my dreams, and in none of those dreams I knit. I never see the knitting in those dreams, never. I don't worry about getting wool. I don't worry where are my needles. Never, never. And everything else, almost everything else in my life, I can find in the dreams. The skateboard, my friends, my family, the work, my daily life here, the landscapes, the sea, but never the knitting. So maybe I don't think of it like a passion or like a hobby which is external to me. Maybe it's already, you know, in my daily life, and so much in my daily life that I don't even dream about it, because it's something that I do mechanically.
Well, I honestly can't, like, I enjoy your Instagram just because I feel like I get to travel with you and to see the world through your lens. So to me, this is what I like the most about seeing your knitting. And I'm so glad you agreed to be a guest of my channel and we got to chat today. Thank you so very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Irina. It was
Thank
very
you.
lovely.
Thank you.